Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Barry, that Goat Metal Show. On today, Saturday, February 5th, 2022, on this cold-ass New York day. Can't believe it. It's another freaking weird-ass weather shit going on over here in New York. Trying to get the fuck out of here. But what else can we do, man? We just gotta go and do what we have, right? Alright, guys. Also, I want to give a quick shout-out to everybody over at Metal Messiah Radio. Hope everybody's doing well. To all the people who are fans of Auditory Assault, we will be back soon. Once everything's all said and done, an announcement will be made. Alright? Just want to give a shout out to everybody over there. Thanks a lot for everything. And to LC, thank you very much. Alright? I never thought that I would come on here and talk about gossip between people in the metal community. Turns out that former vocalist of Cannibal Corpse and current member of 6 Feet Under, Chris Barnes seems to be having an issue with the genre of death metal now, or its state of what's going on with death metal. And you know, it's funny because I mean, some people might look at it as just him being bitter, or you know, he's just angry, or he's just becoming an old guy who just wants to be angry at the world. But you know, everybody could just pick and choose, you know, basically what they want to feel with what he's saying. All right, here's a couple of the topics that came up recently. It's been making news for the last week or two. All right. One of the ones he did, one that caught my eye first, was that he went and he talked about ticket pricing for one of the Cannibal Corpse shows in California, I think it was. So what happened was, I guess a fan went to go buy something. I think Cannibal Corpse has a show, and I forgot what part of California it is, in March. So turns out that the tickets were going to run about $105 a piece. Okay, so the fan put out a tweet, something about like, wow, I didn't know Metallica was playing. Right? I believe Cannibal Corpse is playing with Whitechapel and two other opening acts. I just know Whitechapel was, I think, one of the main people supporting them. And they for some reason this particular spot is selling them tickets for, you know, altogether $105. So Chris Barnes went on his Twitter and he put out a tweet saying price gouging, you know, and it became somewhat of an uproar. Now, we all know, I mean, we're not, you know, dumb to say that, you know, which, depending on the band or the genre of music, you know, you're going to have your prices when it comes to shows. I mean, you know, you go to a local club to see a decent band, you might be spending somewhere in the ranges between, depending on how big they are, 15 to 20, 20 to 30, depending on what's going on, to see a decent band in a club. Now, if you go to an arena, again, depending on the band, an arena show or a decent theater could charge you anywhere between, 40 and up. Depending on the band and whatnot. An arena, you know, you're going to spend maybe $50 or better, depending on the band again. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I'm a big, huge Manowar fan. Love Manowar. Okay, and they rarely come around to New York, and when they do, it's like one of those hit or miss things where you gotta go get the tickets, if not, they sell out and they won't be back forever. Okay, there was one time I remember some years back that Manowar played a show down in New York City at BB King's. Okay, I got, I think one of my friends sent me my friend Martin, singer Billy Club. He was the one that told me about it. And I was so hyped. I was, oh my God, yes, definitely, you know, I'm like BB King's. I mean, you know, that place was charging for decent bands, you know, like maybe $30, the most, $25-$30. But unfortunately, Manowar was playing in this place, and they were charging somewhere in the realms of, I think it was $80, $80 to $100, or something like that. It's a lot of money. And, you know, I love Manowar to death, but I felt like BB King's is a regular club, a little club there that they do performances and stuff. But I wasn't sure about spending that much money to go see them there, so I declined to go. I said, look, you know what? If I'm going to spend that much money, I'd rather see them in a big ass arena, with a lot of people, make it worth my while, make the experience worth my while. So, look, it is what it is. I'm not sure what was the gist of them pricing the Cannibal Corpse show at $105. But it made the rounds. And then I think there was some type of explanations, but you might have to just look that up. I don't want to sit here and explain that too much. And also, there seems to be some type of, I'm going to look at it more like maybe Chris Barnes felt left out. Let's just say that. There was some type of round table with Knotfest where they had, I think, 4 of death metal singers. Out of the 4 death metal singers, 2 of them are pretty much well known. Cannibal Corpse and Black Dahlia Murder. George Fisher was there, and Black Dahlia Murder. I'm not really too familiar with the other 2 bands. I'll be honest with you. Look, I'm pretty much an old school dude, and I try to go and get up to date with some of the bands, and some people got to throw stuff my way so I can really get up to date. But I wasn't really too familiar with the other 2 bands, as much. But they were there, I guess, discussing some type of thing with death metal and whatever, and these 4 guys were singers. So I guess Chris Barnes felt kind of slighted, and I'm not justifying his actions, but we as original death metal people also got to understand. Look, Chris Barnes was one of those pioneers. Not from the point, if you go to your history of death metal, from Possessed to Death, Obituary, you gotta throw Cannibal Corpse in that mix there with Chris Barnes, because he basically escalated the death metal vocals to a whole new level. I mean, when we got John Tardy, we thought that was like, that was like, oh my goodness, that was mind blowing the way John Tardy sounded in Slowly We Rot. That was mind blowing. And the first Cannibal Corpse album, Eating Back to Life, it was, it was there. I think Chris Barnes' vocals was more on that level of, I don't even want to say Malevolent Creation, but he was still finding himself. When he got to Butchered at Birth is when he found his way of putting his vocals to the music, and it just sounded great. And I think a lot of the newer bands who had the so-called pig squeal, I think, you gotta like pretty much give Barnes, I don't think his vocals were more than that, but it's like that temperament of how his vocals will come out gave you something to use to give you that pig. So I just felt like Chris Barnes was the pioneer in a lot of that stuff in the late 80s, early 90s. So he sees this, and I guess he felt slighted. I know maybe the guys in Knotfest said, we already got George Fisher there. We don't want it to be somewhat awkward or whatever. Come on, man. These guys are all musicians. Regardless, this is part of their thing. They're trying to make money. At the same token, feelings shouldn't get involved. It should be something that should be put out there for the fans, if anything. You know what I mean? And as a fan of death metal, old school death metal, yeah, I would have felt a certain kind of way. But of course, Chris Barnes is taking it to a whole nother level. He basically is just talking about all death metal in general now. He said something about, he said something about somebody, I think, made an account and said something about that he doesn't like no other death metal vocals but him, and that doesn't sound like him. I do believe him on that, but there was a lot of stuff there that he did say that was basically throwing shade at death metal in general of what's going on now. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard as a fan to say yeah that's right, Chris, or no, that's wrong, Chris. It's like, because we stay in the middle on a lot of things. We just want good music. It shouldn't be personal. Look, it's been so many years since he left Cannibal Corpse. I mean, yeah, long time, and I feel bad for George Fisher because I know he's even to this day he still gets a lot of weird comparisons, and he's already been a part of Cannibal Corpse for over 20 years, something like that. And it's a shame. It really is. I think that's really fucked up. But it is what it is. But yeah, Chris Barnes, and then I think there was something between him and Jamie Josta from Hatebreed, where Jamie Josta, I guess feels a certain kind of way because I guess he must be he's friends with a lot of these death metal vocalists, especially with George Fisher, and so I guess he came out and he told them, well, look, if you feel that way, why don't you come on my podcast and we could talk about it, so you could explain why you feel the same way you do. So, I guess there's so many terms, different little stuff that was going on. Chris Barnes just said no, he didn't want to do it. And there was a little back and forth between them. And there goes that. So I guess, right now, it's Chris Barnes versus death metal. At least that's the way it looks right now, And it's a shame because, like I said, I appreciate Chris Barnes as a vocalist. I like 6 Feet Under. I'm not a big fan, but I like them. I like some of the music. I think, he sticks to what he does and he makes it sound cool. But, it is what it is, man. I mean, I just hope they could just put this to rest and leave it be, because, I mean, death metal just needs to, was getting a little bit of a resurgence right now, and I'm happy with some of the stuff that's going on in death metal with a lot of the genres, death metal was nothing but just more of aggression, letting it out and keeping it brutal and having an imagination on some of the things that were going on. It was a good outlet. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe, I'm sure Chris Barnes is probably, is getting a lot of negative press, and maybe he'll come out and he'll speak his mind the right way and explain why he feels that way. But I think, the part of him being slighted on Knotfest for that round table, I think has a lot to do with it. And, you could call it jealousy, but I don't think it's jealousy. I just think it's just a respect factor. I mean, he's one of the, like I said, he's one of the pioneers, and, you didn't give him his due. So I think that's where it's more than anything. But yeah. Okay, also we got some news. King Diamond put out some little posts out there with little notes and stickies talking about how he's he's writing out lyrics and he has it out and stuff. So I guess we're gonna be getting some new King Diamond very soon. It's funny because I thought that he was pretty much gonna be calling it a career, but he's the man wants to keep on going, and more power to you, man. The King, man. Big King Diamond fan, and he's always gonna have a place in my collection, always. All right, and also sad news. The guy who founded Megaforce, John Zazula, one who brought in the likes of Metallica, Anthrax, Testament, all those great thrash bands from the early '80s. He passed away recently. Only 69 years old, man. It's a shame. I mean, you hear guys dying in their 50s and 60s, and just messes up because where you hear it now, people are pretty much going full steam, man, and it's a shame. I read up on. I mean, they didn't really say what was his cause of death. If somebody finds out, please let me know in the comments. I didn't know what was his cause of death, but it's a shame, man. That's great history there. I don't think if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had our thrash era of bands like Metallica and Anthrax and Testament. Rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace, and let's just hope his legacy lives on. All right. All right. So guys, I mean, it's a shame. I know we got some shows. I think they're gonna be coming our way. I know I spoke about it before. I know that there's a Wasp show passing through. I saw one with there's another, the Cannibal. I think one of the Cannibal Corpse shows that I guess that tour is going to be hitting around New York soon. A lot of local bands, Immortal Suffering, Immolation are going to be coming through. So hey, look, you know what? Things are starting slowly but surely to come back to some type of normalcy, and we'll see how it goes from there. All right. So far, recently, what we got? Thursday, we had Corpse Grinder's album come out. I'm gonna definitely go try to put it on. I really want to have the physical CD in my hand. Look, I know we're into just downloading and stuff like that, man. But I'm still one of those old school guys. I just gotta have something physical in my hands, read the book, you know, look at the artwork. It just having it in your hand it's not nothing. It just doesn't look. It doesn't compare. Just the pressing a button, downloading, and hearing the music. You know, I like to, you know, a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people do feel that way. But you know, I get, you know, you want to save space and all that. But you know, look, it is what it is. You know, you can't take that away from me. Okay. Also, we got a new Napalm Death album coming out. Resentment is always seismatic. It's coming out on the 11th. Immolations album is coming out. Act of God on the 18th. I have that physical album. And of course, we got the Mighty Death Hammer coming out with Electric Warfare on February 25th. So I think that's pretty much what we got going for February. I think there's some other stuff coming out. Maybe a lot of local bands and independent bands are going to be coming out with stuff, and I'm so looking forward to hearing everything. All right, so that's pretty much it right now, guys. Also, please, if you get a chance, please go on my my Facebook merch store, the Sith Lords merch. All right, this is for my other channel, the Sith Lord is a Metalhead. I advise, if you're a geek of anything Star Wars, Marvel, all that cool stuff, go on that channel and get a metalhead's perspective of being a fan of those geeky things and comic books and all that cool stuff. Also, like I said, you got the merch, and of course, you know, I got for this, you know, got that Gold Metal Show shirt here and other band merch there and other merchandise. Just check it out. Tell me what you want. We'll make a deal. I have no problem with that. Okay, it's just about getting some cool stuff out to the masses. All right, guys. So that's it for now. Hope everything's going well. And stay safe out there, alright guys? This is Barry, that Gold Metal Show. Stay brutal.